Welcome to Paraardua's Let's Play of Space Quest 1, the Sarien Encounter. We are going to play the VGA version, so, as you probably remember, when these games came out, Sierra, huge company, amazing production, amazing, always pushing the envelope with their games, and clearly one of my favorite memories of growing up. And Space Quest was one of those series that just brings back such love and memories for me of gaming as a child, and really just starting to, when video gaming was really trying to come up on its own. And you really don't find a lot of adventure game series like Space Quest or King's Quest or Quest for Glory, any of the games that Sierra used to make. You really don't find those kinds of games anymore, I feel. And so I wanted to do a Let's Play walkthrough of those games, if you will. And so we're going to start out with Space Quest 1, the Sarien Encounter, the the VGA version. Now, of course, when this game first came out, there was no such thing as VGA. It was very pixelated, very 16-bit, or maybe even 8-bit at the time. I'm not even sure. But so the game has actually been remade, and I find the VGA version more fun to play. So what we're going to do is a little bit of a walkthrough / Let's Play of Space Quest 1. Now, the thing to note about these games is there's three things I feel like I need to point out about these older kind of Sierra games. The first thing is, one, you want to save often. Pretty much around every turn, there's a good chance you're going to die. And you're going to die a lot. So you want to make sure that you're constantly saving your game. So as we go through this walkthrough / Let's Play, you're going to see me save the game a lot. Especially King's Quest 1, Space Quest 1, not so much with Quest for Glory 1, but there's a lot of opportunity to very easily just die, Plus the controls are not very specific, so you could accidentally walk in a direction you didn't want to walk into, so on and so forth. So saving the game often is important. That's number one. This was an original one, but pick up everything. Everything you see is going to be used at some point in the game. As stupid as it looks or sounds, pick up everything. Look at everything. Within reason, touch everything. Whatever you can do, that these are going to be used in game. So let's talk a little bit about the story real quick before we really get into playing. Space Quest 1, the Space Quest series as a whole is really built around one character, Roger Wilco, who's a janitor. And Roger, as we go through the series of games, will have his own little adventures and whatnot. But we find him here in Space Quest 1 aboard the starship Arcada. And he's a janitor here. And he has basically decided he's going to take a nap in the supply closet, where janitors would normally nap, of course. The ship that he's on, the Arcada, gets attacked by an alien race called the Sariens. And they're basically there to steal the star generator, which apparently is a device capable of destroying planets. So think, Star Wars, the Death Star, all that good stuff. Now, the auto-destruct sequence has been activated on the Arcada, and so we only have about 15 minutes, and we'll see, as the game starts playing, you'll see this alert come up, and they'll do a countdown. We'll have about 15 minutes to get off the ship, basically. And so that's essentially where we are, whereas we're going to lead out where Roger is going to come out of the supply closet, wake up, and we'll be alerted that we only have 15 minutes to get off the ship. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention earlier was, you're going to be surprised at how quick this game actually is. And if you recall, you played this game when you were younger, me playing for hours and days and months and trying to figure out where to go. Now, because of walkthroughs, we know where to go. And I'm going to take you that way. As I said, this is a Let's Play walkthrough. But the thing to remember is that if you're going to play this on your own, there's going to be a lot of trial and tribulation, and you're going to want to take lots of breaks because you're going to get frustrated. But enough of me jibber-jabbering on. I think it's about time that we go ahead and get started. So let's meet the hero of our game, Roger Wilco. And there he is. We got a robot flying by. And basically we're starting out in one of the corridors. We need to know where to go. And startle sound of an alarm breaking through intercom crackles. And guess what? 15 minutes until destruction, until detonation. And the countdown starts. And now we are on our own. So let's go west. Now, the one thing to note here is, if you're following along, you can just follow exactly what I'm doing. The main thing to note is that there are, the Sariens are all over this ship. And you have to make sure you're walking, so not to basically walk into them. If you walk into a Sarien, you're going to die. And here we are. We just went west twice, and now we went back into that room. And you'd be like, why did he do that? Well, I did that because, guess who? A little scientist is going to show up now. And we're going to go ahead and talk to him before he dies. Hopefully. Take our little talk icon, and let's go talk to him. Now, we're going to want to remember what he says to us. Remember I told you about the star generator? Van Allen belts. Alright? Now, we don't know what that means, but Van Allen belts, that's got to mean something, and it's got to be important. Okay? Now, while we're in this room, we seem to be somewhat safe. Let's go take a look at the controls over here on this control panel, find out what is going on. So here we are, Operation Control. Let's take a look at the monitor. Okay, now, when we talked about, remember when we said that about there's a copy protection right off. You want to get anywhere in this game, Van Allen belts, guess what, is a code for the copy protection. And if you refer to page 6 of the Space Quest 1 manual, you'll see that there's a code in there for Van Allen belts. Now, this code is going to be, the code is going to be the same, but you're going to get a different code word probably when you play it. So I have the code here, so I'm going to go ahead and enter the code that will unlock, basically, essentially unlock the game. Right? So essentially, I mean, they mask it with, we're going to go find the cartridge and bring that to you, and there's going to be some information on it, and, you're going to learn all this great stuff. So, we're going to get the card from the robot. And now we have this card for Van Allen belts. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and save the game already. I know, you're kind of going, what, already? Yes, I'm saving it already. We already did enough work that requires a save for me. Okay? Boom. Alright, now, we are going to get out of this room before the aliens get here, so we're going to go west. Go all the way west. sometimes like I said, sometimes not all that great. We're going to go west again. So you hear footsteps. Now those are the Sariens coming, and basically you want to make sure you get out of their way as soon as possible. You can see the Sariens over there. Now, they did not get us. There's a guy over here. We're going to search him, and he's going to give us a key card. And that key card is going to really help us get out of this ship. So now we're going to go back east, and hopefully those Sariens have left. They have. We're going to get in this elevator and go down, and now we are down on the next level. And we are going to go through this door up here. Now, there's Sariens coming again. And we made it into the room. Now, guess what's in here? The star generator. And, of course, you can see that the star generator is missing. Now, we're going to take this little widget that we saw on there. And like I said, take everything. Everything you want, everything possible. So we're going to take that little widget that was flashing over there. And a lot of times with these old games, you can tell something. If they want you to take something, you can tell. Because it's got a slightly different look to it. And you can figure that out. So now we've taken this little widget. We're going to go east. In fact, we're going to go east twice. And you're going to see that. You're going to see those footsteps come up quite a bit. It's fairly common. They're going to be all over the place. So east twice. And then we're going to... There's one. This is two. We're going to go into the elevator. Now, of course, I think we needed the key card. And that's what's going to get us into this elevator. Into the elevator. And now we're going to walk east again. Now, there's going to be some guards coming into this room, and basically we need to hide. So we're going to hide up over here behind the mouse. As you can see, you can't see me, and wait for the guards to enter the room, and then leave. Okay. And now they're leaving, and we're going to go east again. Use the control panel to open the bay doors. And you can see the bay doors opening in the distance there. Now we're going to use the key card, which we didn't use before. That's the key card there. And we're going to use that to open this door up. Okay, slide in the key cord, get into the elevator, and we're going to go down to where the ship is. The ship stuff is. Now is a good time again to save the game. I'm going to change the name just in case. You never know. Now, of course, before we go into space, we need to make sure we have enough equipment and that we're protected from space. So we go ahead and enter, open the closet, and there's the space suit, which we're going to grab and get that put on. And, of course, the helmet. And then we also need some kind of gadget in there. Always push everything. You can see how it's slightly designed differently there. So you definitely want to make sure you click on everything you can. And now we're going to go ahead and enter the airlock to get into our spaceship. And enter the vehicle. And there's our little ship, and you can see the alien boss up there, which we will get to meet him later. We are now in our escape pod, and we're pretty much ready to go, but we need to get out of here. Well, important piece, always, use your seatbelt. Always use your seatbelt. And now there's going to be 3 buttons up here. And we're going to pick the right button. Okay. And now we're going to use this little lever here to start moving us. And as you can see, the Sarien ship has left our ship, and we just shot out there and left. Now, the right button starts the ship. Okay, which is what we did, and we used it. And, of course, the lever there helps us guide. Now we're going to go ahead and use the left button, which is going to pull up our navigation. Now this is sending us to basically the planet that was pre-programmed into the navigation system for the escape. And we're going to travel. Now here's one thing you should know. If you did not get something like that widget specifically that was on the ship, you need that widget for later on. So if you did not get that widget, you are basically SOL. You have to start all over again. There's no way to get back to the Arcada. So that's something just to keep in mind, because if you miss an item as we go along here, you're not going to be able to get it back, and that's really key. So now we've landed. Let's go ahead and take our seatbelt off. And we're getting up. Now you can see a few things on this new planet. Looks like there's a case here. We should go ahead and take a look at that case. Grab whatever's in it. And we should grab that piece of glass. It's clearly different. Clearly we need to pick that up. So go ahead and grab that piece of glass. Now we have just landed on a weird alien planet. We just escaped from Another weird alien situation, definitely time to save the game. And we basically need to figure out how to get off of this planet, or frankly, where we are. Who else is on this planet? Well, there's one character that's on this planet, this ugly little worm we gotta watch out for. So we're gonna head east, and then now we're heading south. And the whole purpose of going south here is to pick up this lovely little gooey plant. And I will tell you that this plant will come in handy later on. So that's why we need to pick it up. Get that plant. Alright, it's a sticky plant. Now we're going to go back north. And now we're going to head east. Now while we're heading east, we're going to get a little introduction to our first nemesis, and that is going to be a Sarien spider drone. And you can bet that the Sarians noticed an escape pod that we were on leave the Arcada right before that ship blew up. And you can bet that they tracked that escape pod to this planet, and that's why this spider drone is here. So they're coming after us. We just went east twice, and now we're going to move south, and I'm going to try to move south near the middle of the screen, and now is a great time to save the game, by the way. Try to stay to the left-hand side of the screen as we come down. There are some ridges on the ground here, and it's very important you don't trip over the ridges because the spider drone will get you. Now, the spider drone's here. We need to get up on this bone trail here. So we go as far up here as possible. Now, the drone sees us, but can't get up the bones. So we're a little safe right now. But essentially, what we're doing is we're trying to lure the drone in the direction that we're going. So as you can see, the drone is wandering around looking for us. Now would be a great time to save it, and I'm going to go back. I usually alternate between 1 and 2 saved games depending on what's going on. I usually alternate between 1 and 2 saved games. Sometimes 3 or 4 depending on what the sequence is. So this way you always have like a backup to go to. Now if you'll note, this rock looks a little funny. And that means we're going to try to hit this spider drone with this rock. Now the timing of this has to be perfect. And we got him. Perfect. Boom. And he explodes. And now we're safe from the spider drone. And we've got some we got some notices that we're thirsty, and so we're going to take a look inside the survival kit that we picked up out of the space pod, and guess what? We've got an army knife and a canister of dehydrated water. So we're thirsty. We're going to take that water, and we're going to take a little sip of it. Now, yes, he did just take off his helmet and take a drink of water and then put the helmet back on. I know. We're going to go ahead and save our game now that we've defeated the spider drone. And I'm going to save it as 3 just in case, because you never know. You might have to come back. We don't know. Okay? Now that we're up here, we might as well continue along the path. So let's continue across. Clearly, we're not going to be able to walk across that again. And we're going to come up along this path here. And come up over here and be careful not to fall off the spine of this creature. And if you remember, you may recall this from when we came through the next screen before, but there looked to be a little strange door or something over here. And that's kind of where we're going. But we went as far and fell through a little bit of a hole and fell down into a cave. Now, of course, we're in a cave. I think it's a good time to save the game because you just entered a new weird area. And it's definitely important to, save your game before we start out into the next area. So, first things first, it looks like there's a little bit of a rock on top of the stalagmite here, so we're just going to pull that off. Now there's some like goo, it looks like, there, and we're going to leave that. And now we're going to go ahead and walk west. Now, there's a grate there, and I happen to know that there's a nice little plant and our monster on that grate. There he is. So we're going to go ahead and use this little sticky plant we found and use that to get the monster's tentacles stuck. Okay, so that will allow us to walk across the grate without getting killed. And now we're heading west. Now, here we are. We're blocked by a door. We just picked up that lovely little rock. Guess what? Fits right in that geyser. And the pressure causes the door to open. Very nice. Now we're going to head west here. And as you can see, there's a lot of little chances here for us to die. So that's something we need to take into consideration as we go through this. Probably want to save your game more often than I'm saving it. I know I've been through this before recently. I know where I'm going. I know what we're doing. So we've got some little laser beams here. We just picked up that piece of glass from the escape pod. We're going to use that piece of glass on the lasers to get them basically to destroy themselves. Takes a little while. Boom. They've exploded. And now we're going to head up to the upper path. And we're going to walk east to the next area. And before we step right into that next area, I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to save that as 2. Alright, so now this area is going to be a little tricky, and it may take a few tries. Essentially, what's happening is this acid rain is falling from the sky. And, from the ceiling of the cave. And you can see where it's landing because it has these little holes in it. And there's a little bit of a sequence to it. The idea is you need to get through this without dying. It's very straightforward, but not easy. So basically, we'll have to walk carefully past them. I'm going to go ahead and save. You're probably going to do this multiple times because it's going to be very hard to get through. And you can try to walk a little bit. Now, I happen to know that there is an interesting scene coming up next. This little gadget, now, it takes a little trial and error to figure this out. This is basically a translator. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the translator before we walk into this next room, because I happen to know what's in here. A nice little dark room and an alien. And he's going to tell us a little story about us finding our way here and how we have to go out and defeat some beast in order to basically find our way home. So basically we have to, he'll give us a ship, or at least give us a way to get a ship in order to, in return for killing a monster that has basically been plaguing him called the Orat. And he will now basically just transport us out of the of his little cave area. Now we're gonna have to come back. So all that we just went through, we're gonna have to go through that again. Although a lot of we've already basically, took care of the monster in the grain, took care of the laser, and we just have to, walk through that acid rain again. Boom. Kicked us out, pretty much out of his butt. And we're going to go ahead and save the game now that we're back here. Okay. Now, we're going to head east. Now, you know where that crazy monster was? In the cave that we saw over here. So before we do that, always important, stay hydrated. I'm going to take a sip of water. Now, of course, before we enter this cave, we should think about saving, because it's going to be dangerous. So we're going to go ahead and save the game. There's the Orat that we basically need to kill. Well, guess what? The Orat is susceptible to water, much like the Wicked Witch. So we are going to go ahead and use water on the Orat. And he explodes. And he dropped, looks to be a tooth or maybe a horn. We're going to go ahead and pick that bad boy up. We don't know, it's just an Orat part. Once again, save the game. We just defeated a monster pretty easily. And now we're going to go all the way back up that little path back to that little holographic guy. So back down here, around to the very beginning of the spine for this giant monster. All the way back up north. And all the way around. And we're going to go over this sketchy piece, this sketchy vertebrae that looks like it's going to break any second. Will it break while we walk over it? Not this time. But I can almost guarantee you the next time it will break. Although hopefully if you're doing this right and you're following the spine and not falling off of it, you will not have to cross over that piece of vertebrae again, and you'll be able to make it all the way through. And we're going to go all the way back to where that little tunnel opened up and sucked us down into. And there we go, back down the hole. So now we have to get through this area again. So it's important, we should save it, just to play it safe in case something happens. And we're going to head west, back to the room with the grate and the monster. You'll see that the monster is still stuck to that fruit plant. So we should be able to just walk straight by it, no problem. And we're back in this room. The door is still open. We're going to stay clear of that acid rain pool. And just keep going west into the room where the lasers were. The lasers are still off and broken, so we're going to walk right past them and head right up to the upper level and walk east. Now, of course, we're in the room with the acid rain falling, so it's a good idea here to save the game so that you do not die. Because it would suck if you died now. Make it through the acid rain. And move on to the next level. Or next screen. And now, the next screen is going to put us right back in touch with the holographic image. So we can turn in our little part. Take out the Orat part. And drop it on the... Give it to him. Now we get to go out through the door. So we successfully defeated the Orat and gave it to the person we need to give it to. And now we are in this little, like, science lab. And there's the alien. So this essentially is a power station for this particular creature and his kiln. There's a skimmer over here that he's basically going to give us. and that will allow us to not worry about those worms, they call them the Grell, that come up and attack us. And he's telling us about a settlement, Yulin's Flats. So while we're here, though, there's plenty of opportunity for things to do. So, of course, we're going to save the game. That's number one. Now, we could just jump into that skimmer and go on to the next area. But there is stuff to be done here. Now, let's go ahead and take that data cartridge that we got from the ship and see how it works in their computer. Because it's going to give us some important information, because we don't really know where to go now, right? So that we can read a little bit of a story here. Now, this is from the scientist. He talks about the star generator, how he's developed it. He knew that the Sarians were coming for it. So the plans for the star generator are actually on this cartridge. So we have to be very careful. Guard the cartridge with our life. The star generator has two purposes. It can destroy if used for evil, but can also build and create if used for good. Then they tell you about a code, and you must enter this code to activate it. The code is 1986. The code may be different every time you play. I'm not entirely sure, but just either way, make sure you write down whatever code you're told, because you're going to need that again. Good time to save the game, so we don't have to go through that again. Now that we've done that, the next part of this is an arcade sequence. So we're going to go ahead and get in the skimmer. You can choose to play the arcade sequence, or you can skip it. It's up to you. Essentially, the objective behind the arcade sequence is you're going to either... you basically need to avoid rocks. So you're going to use the directional keys to avoid those rocks. So right and left are your keys. Now, if you hit either direction twice quickly, it'll stop you. Otherwise, it's going to send you all the way to the other side of the screen. And so sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you just need to go real quick, a little quick movement like that. You can do that. Try not to hit the rocks. They will damage the ship. Definitely stay away from the big rocks. The big rocks, you will damage all of your ship if you hit a big rock. So don't hit a big rock. Small little ones are okay to an extent. As you can see the damage meter as I hit all of them. So keep an eye on that, but definitely don't hit the big rocks. The big rock you'll be done. And here we are. We've made it to Yulin's Flats. Now there's a shady gentleman over here to the right, and he's going to come over. And he's going to ask to buy our skimmer. Now we're going to tell him no. After he inspects the skimmer, we're going to tell him no. Because frankly, we don't know what to do right now. But I always feel like when you want to buy something, or somebody wants to buy something of yours, it's better to tell them no. Because you might be able to negotiate a better deal later on. He's going to come back, mind you. So keep an eye out for him. Lots of dangerous characters all around here. So we're now at Yulin's Flats. Let's go ahead and save the game so we don't have to go through any of that again. And one of the main things is we need to make sure that we get the key out of the skimmer. Otherwise, it's going to get stolen. And guess who's back? Our favorite guy who still wants to buy. But now he's got a different offer. He's going to give you 30 buckazoids and a jetpack. Alright, that's a pretty good deal. Now, I don't know. He raised it to 5. He's giving you a jetpack. Let's go ahead and take that deal. All right. He was probably hoping that we wouldn't take the key and then he could steal it. So now we've got a jetpack. We've got 30 more buckazoids. And he's going to give us a coupon for the bar. So now we can go get a drink. So we're going to go ahead and save again. I know, we save a lot, saving a lot, and let's go into that bar. For any of you Star Wars fans, this bar should look familiar. And it's basically this idea of, we're kind of playing it off the Star Wars cantina. So we're going to go ahead and give the bartender our for free buckazoids, 5 free buckazoids and a beer. Yeah. Now we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to buy another beer. So those are our Buckazoids. If you're curious, just make sure. Yep, those are Buckazoids. We're going to buy another beer. Why can't I buy a beer? Maybe. You notice that guy got zapped. We need to talk to the bartender. Yeah, how about a refill? Here we go. Yes, we want another drink. And let's go ahead and get another one. Might as well while we're hanging out. Ah, now we're hearing somebody. Sector CI. A blip on the scanner. Now remember that sector, CI. That's going to come in handy later on. We're going to need that. So make sure you remember the sector CI. He's going to tell us a little bit about what he saw. Very similar. Makes you think those are probably the Sariens. We're going to hit save the game. Now, we picked up this little widget that looks a lot like a magnet. And this is a little gaming machine over here. So we're going to go ahead. I think we are. We're going to go ahead. And you stand up. Yes, thank you. And use that little widget over here. You got to stand up first from the bar. And then use this little widget over here on the game. And basically what we're going to end up doing is winning a lot of money from this game because we're basically kind of jacked it, you know. So we're going to use Buckazoids on the slot. We can go ahead and bet. Let's go ahead and... Oh, only 3 Buckazoids per spin. So let it roll. Now, I know what's next. Essentially what we need to do is we need to win enough. We need to win 300 Buckazoids. So we're just going to keep playing until we win enough. Just keep betting 3 because that's the max. We're about halfway there. We're a little bit more than halfway, I guess. Getting closer. Now, you can win more than 300. There's nothing saying you can't. But for the most part, you only really need 300 Buckazoids. And, of course, we won 316, and then we basically broke the machine. So, it's a real question of how much more you could win. Good time to save the game. Now we're going to exit the bar. So, basically, now we know where we're going, right? We're going to Sector CI, but we need to figure out how to get off this planet. We've already given the skimmer away, which is only really good for transportation on the planet. So they must have a there must be a ship factory or store here. So we're going to head north. Now we're going to head east again, or we're going to head east for the first time, I guess. There's a Droids Be Us place here. That's the pickup. And we actually are going to go north into the Droids Be Us store. Now, we've got a coupon from Droids Be Us. So after he finishes talking to us, we're going to go ahead and give him the coupon. Now, we're watching the screen because there is a droid we're going to need, basically a navigation droid. We're looking for the Nav 201. Dalek. Doctor Who. And once that droid shows up, we're going to want to make sure we give money to the bug. So remember, we're looking for a Nav 201, which is going to be our our navigation droid. And we just paid for it, and we can pick him up outside. So away we go, and over to the pickup area at Droids Be Us. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Danger. And there he is. Our little droid, nav droid. Good time to save, as always. And now we're going to go ahead and head west. And now we're going to go south. Nice looking ships over here. And there's the salesman. Yep. Alright, wants to sell me a ship. How about we go north and take a look at those ships up there? Tiny the salesman's going to come with us. Picking out a nice little ship for ourselves. 214 Buckazoids. Gonna go ahead and pay the man. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into that little ship. The nav droid is going to go ahead and get into the ship as well to help determine where we're going, and away we go. Uh-oh, that wasn't a ship for sale, that was somebody else's ship. Now, if you notice that little space pod, if you will, that kind of showed up there, in the EGA version, that is not there. That was something that was added for the VGA version, because mainly the VGA version came out at a time, at the same time as another game, where essentially you're going back in time, and going through the time warp of the different Space Quest games. And so that's why that showed up there. But in the EGA version, that's not there. So this is a little bit of a future story for you, if you will. So now we're back here. We're back in the we're in a ship's cockpit. We need to know where we're going to go. If you remember, they told us CI is what we heard. So we're going to go ahead and look at our navigational grid codes. It's in the manual. And we're going to go ahead and punch in the code. So we're punching in the code for CI, but of course you'll want to punch in the code for whatever sector they told you. Okay, and now we're going to plot our course, and away we go. And essentially, we are now traveling to Deltar. Avoid the asteroids. We're not, you're not controlling. This is just part of the game. Aha! We found the ship. There it is. The Sarien ship. That's probably the one that has the star generator on it. Now you're going to want to say no. And I understand that there's say no, because you want to get on to that ship. Now you're going to put on the jetpack that you just got. You got from that shady buyer, which is why you held out for the 30 Buckazoids and the jetpack, because you needed it for this. And we're going to go right up to the escape hatch. And now's a really great time to save your game, because you just traveled a lot and you did a lot, and now is a good time that we're here to go ahead and save. Now we're going to have to use the handle open the door, and then we're going to go through and enter the ship. The ship's known as the Deltar, and so once we get in here, slowly but surely, this is all game controlled right now just to get into the ship. And here we are. Good time to save again. We're going to want to stand to the right of the door. There should be a... Oh no. There's a droid that's going to come in here to clean up that mess that we just made with our jetpack. And we're going to go ahead and walk out the door while it's open. And here we are into this next room. Now, we're on an enemy alien ship. So, very important, save the game. Save the game. We're going to be saving the game repeatedly as we go through this. Now, since we're in the storage room, and we need to get out of here, so there's a grate, and of course, whenever you see an air grate, guess what? We're going to go up it. So we're going to go ahead and move that little toolbox over, and now, if you recall, we pulled out a really weird-looking Swiss Army knife. We're going to use that to pry open the grill gate and crawl in. Now that we're in the shaft, we're crawling through, we have an option. We can go north, up the ladder, we can go down the ladder. We're going to go ahead and go through the top, go up the ladder and go through the top part. And now we're back over here, another area with a grill, so we're going to come back up and enter, and go ahead and open this grill. Of course I'm not close enough. They get very picky about certain things in these games, so you got to make sure you get close enough and open the grill. Alright, now we're in another room. There's a helmet or something. We don't know what it is, but it's actually a helmet. So we're going to go ahead and grab the helmet. Actually, we're not going to grab it. We heard somebody was coming. They totally ignored us. And now we're in the dryer, essentially, with a Sarien uniform and a helmet. Now, of course, this will actually result in us being changed into wearing a Sarien uniform. So, which actually helps us out, because we're going to need that. So as the dryer washing machine comes to a stop, you'll find us in a new Sarien outfit. Perfect. Oh, but there's something on the ground there. Hey. Move out of the way. Something on the ground there. We should make sure we pick that up. And another good time to save it. Now that we're out here, we can go ahead. Let's exit this area to the east. Now we are in complete disguise, so the hope is that nobody is going to recognize us. And we're going to go ahead and use the elevator here on the left. And now we're going to head east. Now there's a guard here. Guess what? That's the star generator. We're going to go ahead. We picked up a little ID here. We're going to use that on the guard. It's destruct code 1986, as we knew that already. But it's good that we have it. Now we're going to head out back west. And go west again. And now we're going to get into this elevator. And we're going to head east 3 times. So here's our first east. East number 2. And one more time for east number 3. Now we're in the weapons dispensary. Essentially, now, well, first off, now's a great time to save the game. Essentially, what we want to do is we got to get rid of that guard so that we can destroy the star generator. Now, while he's gone, I'm hiding and going to get a... I picked up basically a grenade while he went into the room there. So you kind of have to know to move quickly, open the counter, go get the grenade, come back. There's only so many opportunities to do that. Now, he handed us a gun that we'll be able to use later on. Robot's back. We're going to head back west now. And now's a great time to save the game. Now, since we now have that grenade, we can use it on the guard down here to get him, essentially, well, kill him, basically. He's now basically been stunned or put to sleep. And we're gonna get back down there and enter the destruction sequence. So we gotta go west twice to get back to the elevator. Uh-oh, now we've lost our helmet, tripped and fell, and the cleaning drone came and picked up the helmet. So now we're basically, our disguise is blown. We are stuck. Which basically means we can't be seen by any Sariens. So now's a really great time to save the game. Now, we have a gun. Make sure it's equipped. There's a guard, and make sure you use the gun as soon as possible on the guard. This way he doesn't sound an alarm and he doesn't shoot you. Now we're going to head east. You noticed another guard popped in there as we were leaving, which is a little weird, but he didn't see us, so I think it's okay. And we're heading east into the room with the guard that we just basically knocked out. And as always, it's good idea to search people and loot, and so we're going to search this guard. He's probably got some goodies on him. We remove a device. It seems to be remote control. It turns on and off the force field, so that's definitely going to come in handy. Again, good time to save the game. And we're going to go ahead and use the remote control on the star generator. We've now removed the force field. Now head up to the front of the star generator. And here we are at the code. And if you remember, our code was 1986. Self-destruct engaged. Have a nice day. Well, now we have 5 minutes to detonation. So we once again find ourselves on a spaceship that's about to self-destruct. We're successfully started the detonation on the Star Destroyer. Now we need to get off the ship. Saving the game again, because that's incredibly important at this part. We don't have to go through all that again. And of course, we're going to head west to get out of here. Basically, need to get back to our ship. Back to to an escape pod, actually. So we're heading west. Now, if a guard shows up, we need to make sure we've got that gun ready to use on him. And we're going to go ahead. Oop, there's a guy. Gotta make sure we use it. Boom. Got him. Now we're going to go ahead and enter the elevator. Okay, we're down here. There's a guard here. So we're going to want to use the gun on him. He missed us, thankfully for that. Good time to save the game again. I'm going to save it as 2 this time, just as a precaution. And now we're going to go ahead and use the right elevator. And this should take us down to the escape pods. And it does. And now we just need to enter. And away we go. And kaboom! There goes the Sarien ship with the Star Destroyer on it. And we sail off in our escape pod back to our maybe home planet or some planet. And that's the end. That's the end of Space Quest 1. The people of Xenon. Doesn't he look familiar? Like a King's Quest character? Basically loves us. Thank you for our eternal gratitude. You're so great. You destroyed the star generator. You saved us, and you're just a janitor. And now he presents us with the coveted golden mop, and forever be known as a hero of Xenon. The 2 guys from Andromeda are over here. You saved it, and you got the girl. I don't know what girl we got, but apparently, yep, there wasn't a girl. Well, you got the mop, and that's important. And there you have it, the closing credits. And so now we'll end the game. So thank you guys for tuning in to Space Quest 1, the Sarien Encounter VGA walkthrough Let's Play. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Let me know if there's some questions you have about it, anything I can help you out with. You know, I don't know the points total. I don't know if we got all the points. And I can't figure that out. So I apologize. I think we got all the points, though. We were up pretty high. I really wasn't paying attention. But I'm pretty sure we got all the points. So, thank you again all for tuning in. Please like and share the video. Tell your friends about it. And, of course, as always, subscribe to the channel. I hope to do a lot more of these kind of classic Sierra game walkthroughs on the Let's Play channel, as well as other games that we've already been Let's Playing. Thanks. Take care.